So today we're going to be learning about news apps. I know a lot of you might already have some of these apps, and some of you are still on physical paper copy. But hopefully after today you'll learn more about the benefits and maybe you want to switch from the paper copy. All right, so let's get started. First of all, what are the benefits of accessing the news through the apps opposed to the physical copy? First of all, you would stay updated wherever you are. So let's say you're at a grocery store and you want to check the news, see what's going on really quickly. You could easily do that because you have your phone right in front of you and you just see what's going on, get a quick update, and you don't need the big, bulky physical copy wherever you're going. Next is news story summary, keep you in the loop until you get a full time to read the full story. Again, a lot of apps and articles will just summarize a full story for you. So it'll just explain it in a few lines. And that way you can understand the brief details about an event. And then when you have more time, you can read the full story and really understand what that article is about. Next, you can get notifications. On your phone, you can set it up so that you get notifications from an app when certain articles are being posted and certain topics. So that way you will always know what's going on and stay up to date. I will later teach you how to turn on your notifications. And also with notifications, you can see stories as they're happening. On your phone and on app, sometimes it'll say live. So that means that a story is happening live and you can tune in and really understand what's going on right at this moment. With a physical copy, because it has to be printed, there's no option to see anything live. So this is a great benefit. And lastly, you can get access to many sources. On an app, there are many different articles. There are more articles than actually are printed on the physical copies. And you can also have different apps. All right, so let's move to the next slide. What type of news?
Lower.
Okay. What type of news apps exist? So there are many different news apps that exist. So there's one that have a lot of, so for example, the New York Times app, that is a source-specific app, and that shows you articles that are made and published by the New York Times. You also have all source apps, which are Google News and Apple News. Those show you many different articles from different publishers. So not just, for example, New York Times, you'd see different headlines from different sources. And lastly, you have the summarizing apps. Summarizing apps, they summarize the news for you, and they just give you the brief, important details about an event, which is great because then you would just see some important things about the event and you wouldn't have to read the full story. An example of that would be the Skimm. It gives you a summary, and if you're a person who is more into just getting a summary and then understanding what an event is about that way, then the Skimm is a great app for you. Another great benefit is customizing your news. When you have the online copy, you're able to customize what news you see on your front page. That is because you can subscribe and you can also let the app know what your favorite events are, what topics you're interested in, and that way they will organize from the hundreds of different articles that they have, and they will find the articles that are most appropriate to you and your interests. With a physical copy, you just get the printed one and it's not customizable. So with an online app, you can get it customized. Next, we have online exclusive content. So this is, what does the online app have that the physical copy doesn't? Well, the online app has way more stories than the paper copy. The paper copy only has a few stories per day from different publishers, and then they print that and they'll send it out to you. But online, you can see way more stories. And you can sort through them easily by just typing in what article you want, and I'll explain that later. But what I want to focus on right here is that you get more stories when you're on the app. For instance, the Washington Post publishes around 500 stories per day, and obviously not all of them get to print. And if you're someone who has a lot of paper copies, you definitely see that you've never seen that many stories get on the paper copy. Next, we have the apps offer more interactive features. Now, what does more interactive feature mean? Well, online, you can see things like polls, election status, which is currently going on right now and will be in the near months as well. And something very common and popular right now is the COVID tracker. If you go online and you're on your app, you would see some polls, election statuses, and you would also see the COVID tracker and many more. This is because these things are constantly changing all around. So if they put it to print, it wouldn't be accurate. But with these apps, they are able to update it so frequently that it is incredibly accurate, and that's a great benefit because you can see the COVID numbers right up to speed. You can see polls and how they're doing right there. And lastly, all different mediums are in one place. All news sources are included. So when you have the app, you are able to see videos, audio content, and of course text. Opposed to the printed version, which just has text. Obviously, it can't show you a video if it's printed or audio content. So you get more content in that specific app because you are using the app. It has videos, which are great if you want to see something like how an event happened specifically, or audio, or a reporter talking to someone. So that's definitely a great thing. Next, we have your favorite newspapers in an app. Whatever your favorite newspaper is, whether it's the Globe and Mail, which is one of my favorites, LA Times, New York Times, they most likely will have the app. So if you're a subscriber to the physical copy, you can get access to the online content. And I'll show you later when I do the live demo how you can do that specifically. If you're not a subscriber, you can always become one for online purposes only. So that means that you can become a subscriber to the New York Times even if you're not a subscriber to the physical paper copy. So you can subscribe to just the online. You can also subscribe to certain aspects of the paper and not others. So you could want the New York Times crosswords, but not the New York Times cooking. Or you can be an all-access subscriber, meaning you'd have access to every single topic, and of course that'd be for a fee. Now I'm going to be talking about the best apps for different purposes. So if you prefer to get your news from a variety of sources, there are plenty of free and paid apps that will give you a larger access. Such apps are a great way to diversify your news sources and see a wider perspective and cast a wider.
Sorry, it looks like one of the co-hosts accidentally paused the recording. I'm not sure when it paused.
I just noticed it like about 30 seconds ago or a minute ago. So I think it was a few minutes ago, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
So
what do you
go back maybe 3 slides or so?
So you want me to go here or do you want me to go to this one?
This is good. I think this would be a good slide to start.
Yeah. Okay. And if I already went through it and it was recorded, then I guess you guys can always edit it out, perhaps.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. So we're back to this slide, so you guys can get a refresher. Oh my God, I am so sorry. Give me 1 second. I think you guys can hear the phone ringing in the background. Okay. Okay. So, anyways, my apologies. So, your favorite newspaper in an app form. So, if you are not a subscriber, you can become one for only online purposes. So what that means is If you were never subscribed to the physical hard copy of a specific newspaper, so let's say New York Times, for instance, you can become one for just online purposes, and you don't need to also get the hard copy. You can also subscribe to certain aspects of the paper. So if you only want New York Times crosswords, you can just subscribe to that. Or if you just want New York Times cooking, then you can just subscribe to that. Or you can also be an all-access subscriber, which means that you'd be paying for all of it. But then again, if you ever want to see an article that you usually wouldn't because it's not one of your topics of interest, you can just look at it because you have all-access subscriber. All right, so the best apps for all sources. So now I'm going to be going through different apps, and I'm going to be explaining what they're best used for. So for example, the Skimm would be a summarizing app, and I'm going to explain some benefits of every app and what it's good for. So then if there's an app that catches your eye, you can download it right after this webinar. All right, so Google News. Google News, you can download it on any device. I believe it becomes built-in, like it comes with your Android device, but if you have an Apple, you can get Google News. So what's good about Google News? Well, it gives you a customizable news briefing of the top 5 stories. So you can say your interests or just get a general of the top 5 stories, and it's not like it's the same top 5 stories throughout the entire day. They keep updated, and that's the really cool thing about being on an app. As I said, local content and global news, it's always updating based on like viewers and things like that, so you'd get the most updated top 5 stories. Next, it gives you the full coverage feature. So that means that you can choose a topic that you're interested in and get articles focused on that. So for example, if you're interested in hockey, for example, you'd get different articles talking about hockey and the playoffs and things like that. And you get more and more articles catered to you. And lastly, you can also subscribe to your favorite news sources. You can subscribe and pay for premium subscriptions, or you can also use the free version. There's both for Google News, and I have to say that the free version is great, but if you want the premium, that's up to you. It obviously does give you a broader view of different apps. All right, moving on.
I just wanted to add that the premium version isn't for Google News itself. It's for the companies and articles within Google News. So like maybe the New York Times, you can purchase a subscription to them.
Right, all right. Thank you for adding that. So next is Apple News. Apple News comes preloaded on all your Apple devices, but it's not available for Androids or Samsungs, well, obviously, or any other phone. It's just available for Apple devices. So if you have an Apple device, what's the benefit here? Well, just like Google News, it gives you access to headlines from a variety of news sources and magazines. But the difference is you can only view the headlines for free. So you can only view the title. But everything else, so all the information and the text, you have to pay in order to get. And again, I do not know the price of Apple News per month, but you can simply figure that out. Next is INKL. So it's set up much like Google and Apple News. INKL is available on all devices, and it offers a monthly subscription package. Unfortunately, I do not know the price of that, but you can figure that out. I'm sure it's different in like different countries because of the currency and things like that. But I'm sure it's, I don't know, anywhere from $10 to $20. So it gives you access to content from the Washington Post, the Guardian, and many, many more. So it gives you different article headlines that are very popular, and you can get them and you can see them. I'm sure you're familiar with many of these. It also offers a prepaid subscription option, which bills readers 10 cents for each article they read. So that allows you access to tons of different sources without making a big commitment. So if you read 4 articles in 1 week, you're only billed 40 cents. And if you don't read at all, then obviously it's a better deal than paying for the monthly subscription package. If that's something in your case that you just want to pay as you go, that's up to you, and might be a great choice for you. Next, we have Associated Press, also known as AP. And I'm going to refer to it as AP in this presentation for this slide. So just so you know, they are synonymous. AP News delivers stories from the Associated Press's network of local, national, and global news writers, giving you a wide variety of coverage. So just like the other apps, it has local, national, and global writers, so New York Times, LA, The Guardian, and many more. So you have articles covering all different events, and you might have a specific one event being covered by many different writers and publishers. AP writers and not affiliated are not affiliated with a particular paper, but write stories that get published across different news sources. This app allows you to follow your favorite topics as well as your favorite affiliated news sources. So you can follow any topic that you like. Again, I used the example earlier, hockey. If you like hockey, you'd be interested in that topic, you'd subscribe to it, you'd get different articles from affiliated news sources about that specific topic, and you'd be interested, more educated, and it'd be catered to your interest. All right, next we have the best apps for summaries. So, summaries are very helpful if you're not interested in reading the entire, if you're not interested in reading the entire text because it's too long, you get a summary of many different events. So it's brief, it's quick, you can read it on the go, and maybe later you might be really interested in the story and go onto another app and see the full story. So this is a summarizing app, can be used for many different purposes, but I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what those apps are. So we have the Skimm. I mentioned that earlier and I said it was a great app, so I'm going to explain a bit more about it. So the Skimm was designed by and for millennials with shortened attention span. So this is great because people are able to get a lot of information in a quick few sentences. So the Skimm creates daily, short, easily digestible summaries. So about any topic, any article, any event, it'll give you a little short summary and you'll read it and understand the main details about the events. You can click through and get additional information on any summary you read. So as I said, if you're really interested in an event, you're like, wow, this is so interesting, you can press on it and get more information. Next, you can use the app, which updates throughout the day. So it updates with new topics, new events that happened. It'll be updated. So it doesn't just update once a day. It continuously updates. So it's up. So because of that, you get the most relevant information. Lastly, you can also subscribe to their email newsletter, which gives you a daily briefing of the news as well. So it's just like the main stories you'd get emailed to you. TLDR World News. TLDR is an acronym for too long, didn't read, World News. So it summarizes the world news in about 3 sentences. So that's great because obviously it's not long. You can get the basic information in about 3 sentences. And again, if you are more interested in an event, you can just press on it or Google more to educate yourself. So there are no photos on TLDR World News. So it's just the 3 sentences and that's your summary, no photos. It takes news from different sources to give you a broad but succinct summary of what is going on. So from different sources such as New York Times, Guardian, etc., takes those and it gives you a short summary of what is going on in that specific event. And again, as I said, you can follow up a link to the original story the summary is based on if you want more information. So as I said, it does come from different sources. So for instance, they found it from The Guardian. They gave you a 3-sentence line, but you think it's super interesting, you want to read more about it. You would press on the link to the original story, and there you can read the entire story. That is in no way summarized. Next, we have Pocket. Personally, I've actually never heard of this one, but yeah. The whole idea behind Pocket is to find articles you are interested in and save them so you can read them later when you have time. So this app summarizes it for you, but it also has the full story. So that means that you get a bit of information, you'd save the app, so then when you have more time, you would go back and read the full story with all the information. Pocket integrates with the share buttons on other apps on your phone, email and browser, and save it for later. So you can email it to yourself or save it for later. You can save stuff from across devices and have them all in one place, the Pocket app later when you have time. So basically what that means is if you have an account that you share on many different devices, they all will sync together and have a saved file for you. And now we are done with summarizing apps. Those were the main 3 or 4 apps that I just went through. Now we're going to learn about how to turn on notifications. So when you're trying to get more or less news, adjusting your notification settings is helpful. By default, a lot of the time you'll just get all the, whenever there's a new story, you just get a notification. So it's important to know how to turn on and off the news notifications. These settings can be changed to allow or disable you from receiving push notifications. So they pop up on your screen from news apps on your phone. You can easily access the app-specific notifications from this area too, and decide what kind of news you get notifications for. So again, that would be catered to your topic of your interest. So if you only want to get notifications about COVID or hockey, let's say hockey, you just turn that on and you only get notifications whenever a new article about hockey comes up. Let's go into a bit more depth. So over here, this is on an Apple phone. So you'd go to your notifications right here. Let me get the pointer. So your notifications right here. Then see all different apps. And let's say you like the New York Times app, which, and I know some of you might say that we didn't go through this app, which we didn't, that is correct. But this is a specific app, so it just shows articles from the New York Times. So let's say you have this app though, so you don't have Google News or anything, you just have New York Times. You'd go in here and then you would organize it a bit. So see, maybe you would turn on breaking news. So urgent and important stories, you would get a notification. Or top stories, special reports and editors' picks, you can turn that on or off. Morning briefing, business and tech, New York politics, and the list goes on about the different topics. You just go on. So now we are going to do a live demonstration of the Globe and Mail because that is the app that I use for my news source. So I'm just going to, I think, switch. Here is my home screen. So this would be the things that I'm seeing on my home screen. And it keeps going and going and going. Now over here on the top, it shows some subcategories that are very relevant and popular. So it shows Canada, world, business, etc. So now I want to show you like how I can go into the app and read the article. So let's say I want to read this article, which says Ford says Ontario's experience a second wave of COVID-19. So I just press on that, and I'm able to read the entire article. So as you can see, it is in no way summarized. This is just, I guess, a shorter article, so I just go through that. So this one I was able to see. However, something like, if you guys can see, UN calls for ceasefire as Armenian and Beijing forces clash, if I press on that, I cannot read it. And this is because I am not an exclusive member. I am not subscribed. So that just goes to show that some articles I do have access to and other ones I don't. So now I'm just going to go down here and there's more articles. Over here is the sections category. So this shows, for example, Canada shows you different provinces, then it shows education, investigations, etc. So if I press on that, I would get articles relating to that topic. Now I go back and I can see other ones. So Globe Investor, opinion, politics, a lot. So here I can go to settings, and here I would go to buy subscription, and it would show me that a monthly subscription would be $25.99, and an annual subscription would be $299.99. And this is in Canadian prices. So in America, maybe it is different. Over here, I am going to my alerts. So see here, it says we send alerts about breaking news, exclusive articles, and our most compelling stories. And I can go yes or no. So I'm going to go no because I don't want that. So in here it says alerts are disabled. So now I don't have any alerts. But if I go to turn on, then that's one way that I can turn them on. And lastly, saved articles. This area is all the saved articles. So if, for example, I were to go here and press on that and press this little bookmark page right there, you could see it. I'm just going to do that again. And then you'd go here. It would show that it's saved. So because, as I mentioned earlier, these news apps are constantly changing. So in an hour, if I go back to my homepage, it'd be updated and different. So if I want to go back and remember an article that I didn't have enough time to read or I really liked and want to reread, I would have to press the save button. And then whenever you feel like, well, this is interesting, but that's it, I don't want to save it anymore, then you can just unpress this button. Over here, you can also customize your font size. If you think that this font is too small because you can't read it, then you can go to large and it makes it bigger. Or you can go to extra large and make it even bigger. So this is customizable, so it's easier to read for people. And here I'm also going to show you to go to small. So if you want it smaller because you don't like that it's so big, you can do that as well. And lastly, the bottom button over here is the share button. This says share using, so I would share to, let's say, I don't know, email, and I would email the article to somebody if I think that they'd like it or something. Then I can also Instagram if I want to share an article to someone via Instagram, Hangouts, and many other apps. So that's basically it, I think, for the demonstration. Yeah. I just kind of went through. Oh, also, lastly, I want to show you, sorry, forgot about this. The search button, right, oh, no, wrong button. The search button right here. So let's say I am interested in COVID-19. I would search that up, and it would show me related articles to COVID-19. So for example, school rules that send children home with any symptoms, however minor, leaving Canadian parents scrambling or on standby. So here it just shows me some relevant articles to what I typed in. You can also type in, let's say, hockey, and you'd get some relevant information. So lawsuits alleges hockey league conspiracy and other Interesting things. Edmonton to host 2021 World Junior Hockey Championship with no fans. So just things like that. And that's basically it for Globe and Mail. Many other news apps are very similar.